to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
We'll get to it. This is going to be a fun show. This one's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I do want to say, just to start, though, that go watch our last show.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, having Alex on, I know, like, the video didn't turn out exactly the way we wanted, especially at the end. Thanks, Wi-Fi.
That was really good, man. I thought he was really good.
He was awesome, and I would love to, like, just have him as a recurring guest.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being brutally honest, like, he's so knowledgeable, and
he is.
Like, it was just a lot of fun to just chop it up. So go watch our last show. It's called In the Details. And we've got one game recap. We've got Kepi's, obviously. And then the majority of the episode is an interview with Alex Chavancy of the Hockey Riders. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
But Kepi's for this one.
Well, I started last time, so you guys start this time.
I'm going with a fellow Jake.
Really?
Jake Christensen scored his first NHL goal against the Devils.
That is totally fair.
And it was awesome.
It was, you know what? It was a really good pass by Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm sure Alex would agree with this sentiment. Just watching it and just being like, "What the hell was PK Subban doing on that play?"
Man,
he's caught up doing literally nothing.
We talked about PK a little bit with him, and it was just like, It's like, I don't know what you could get for him. If you deal him.
Here's the thing, man. I need you to remember that it's not you and me making these deals.
Right. It's Tom Fitzgerald and his staff.
So like you said, they're gonna have to retain half that salary. You're retaining $4.5 million. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
But these are NHL GMs who are gonna be looking at right hand shot. Ooh, big body. Physical. Good in the past.
Imagine PK.
Second round pick.
Imagine PK on the Leafs. Like, he starts off as a Hab and then he goes to the Leafs.
There's no way they can make that happen, but it would be crazy.
Well, it's like Fleury going to the Capitals, right? Like, that's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
But yeah, Jake Christensen, that shot was a lot like, there were some goals that like guys like Bean and Boakfist have scored where they're either just like on the rush or like way out in front. It's like
it was a good play by him. He recognized that he had an opportunity to skate in and get a chance.
There's a lot of times where our defensemen are really getting up in front and jumping up in the rush. And it's awesome to watch. And
I think it's awesome to watch. I think it's a difference between the systems that you're seeing. You didn't see that a ton under Torts. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it a lot under Brad Larson. Now, granted, the negative counterpoint to that is you're going to give it more odd man situations.
Yes.
You're going to give it more zone time if you turn the puck over, but you also get more plays like that. So you're sacrificing a little bit of defense for some offense.
Right.
That's one of the cases. He comes up, great pass by Cole, bang into the back of the net, first initial goal. So congratulations to him. He deserves it.
He absolutely does. And that's basically just the entire reason he's getting my Kepi, because like milestone, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You're up.
I have a Kepi, and I want to see if this is allowed.
Oh.
Am I allowed?
I think I know where you're going.
Who?
Are you going with the women's broadcast crew from the Devils game?
No.
No?
No.
I do want to shout them out though.
Yeah. The Kepi I'm gonna give is to number 61.
Yes.
I'm giving him a Kepi.
We'll roll with it.
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
We'll roll with it,
Gonna
and
give
you're gonna know exactly
Rick
why.
Nash. First Kepi he has received in a while. But it's perhaps the greatest Kepi you could receive.
Yes. And he's gonna get even more honors tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna end the show on that. But
yeah, so we'll talk about that stuff later. But
very
that's where my Kepi goes.
Number 61, Rick Nash. Boston Bruins legend.
Not even playing. Hasn't played in years.
Boston Bruins legend.
He was the London Knight, wasn't he?
He was, actually. And I've got to, obviously I'm going to save it for the end of the show, but I read that article on why 61's his number. Mm-hmm. And it's a really funny story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the story behind it?
You'll find out.
Okay.
I'm going to save it.
Okay.
So the game against the Devils, it was funny because they were playing as I was trying to render and upload the show.
Mm-hmm.
The all women's broadcast crew, because I watched the highlights this morning, was awesome.
Yeah.
It was Mlezko on color.
Mlezko's really good.
I don't know why I'm like just blanking so much on, because I looked all this up earlier today.
For play-by-play?
Yeah.
It was Leah Hextall.
Leah Hextall, that's right. Leah Hextall and Alex Mlezko. They were awesome. They did a fantastic job.
AJ's really good at what she does.
Or AJ.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I got Shaman C still on the break because that was just such a fun interview. Plus, I mean, I'm tired again.
I'm exhausted today.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, it's a whole aura of just blah. Jack Hughes scored the first goal, and I mean, it's Jack Hughes.
It was a strange play. They couldn't figure out for minutes who scored the goal. They changed it several times throughout the night.
Oh, that's right.
Because it was just a weird scramble. Did you hear the hot mic from the ref too?
Fuck no.
Because Elvis was complaining and he was just like, "You never fucking had it."
You never fucking had it. I thought that was a player, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was the ref who was like shouting at him, like, "You didn't have it. You never fucking had it."
That's hilarious.
You could hear it. Like, if you just watch highlights, they don't know what to do for the highlights because, like, it literally it happens 2 seconds after the goal, so it's like you can't even cut it out. Right. So yeah, it was hilarious, but yeah, no, I like their response to it, because the first 10 minutes of the game they got absolutely caved in by the Devils. Mm-hmm. And outside of that weird play in front where Elvis couldn't stop it, he couldn't get control of it to halt play, and it ends up in the back of the net. Elvis was really fucking good in this game. Oh
yeah, he was phenomenal. A lot of his rebound control was really good, smothering pucks in the crease.
I mean, the 2 goals he gave up, Hischier and Zaka, were 2 really good shots on the rush. I had no issue really with either of them.
Not really.
But, he stopped what I'd hope for him to stop. He stopped 30 of 33. I thought it was excellent.
With the kind of workload that he gets, if you allow, like, 30 is an average amount of saves you should be able to make.
Allowing 33 isn't crazy. Like that's not an absurdly high amount of shots to face. It's not little, but it's not crazy. It's not unheard of.
Right.
But
so we got Hughes, and then Christensen ties it up with his first career goal. And Ollie makes it 2-1 with a wow. Just how many times have I said Ollie being Ollie? And
well, typical Ollie scoring on the Devils.
yeah,
His
exactly.
12th goal in 19
Didn't
games
Alex
against
call
them.
it too?
Yeah.
I
Alex
think we all
is
called it.
just like, yeah, like literally everybody called it. Devils fans were expecting it. Blue
You had
Jackets
like
fans were
3
expecting
friends
it.
with bets on it, and
Yes, there were
they all
several
got
fans
paid.
I know of the Devils who literally put bets on Oliver Bjorkstrand to score a goal in the game. And they weren't even that upset when he did.
Right, because they were
They were
getting
just
paid
like,
for
you know
it.
what? We got our money. We knew this was going to happen. This was
Yeah.
smart of us to do.
Second period was Boone from it was the whole first line. The whole usual first line, I should say, because they were a little broken up. Just doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was, Voracek over to Line A, and Line A blasts it from the circle, and it hit the post, and then Boone just cleaned up the garbage in front.
Yeah, that was just, it's Boone's goal, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's smart for him to be there prepared
It was
to
him.
clean it up.
I'm pretty sure
But
Oliver was
God,
right there
Line
too.
A. What?
Oliver was right there too, as
Yeah.
far as I remember.
They're crashing the net hard because they expected it. It's like they expected it to be there.
Right. He's just kind of sitting there. But then,
Yeah.
that is a Patty goal.
It's
Like,
yeah.
for
It's
Boone's
like
goal,
that
it's a
play
Patty
happens
goal.
because of Patty. It's like you feel for Nico Dawes. Like, what are you gonna do there? It's Patrick Laine just wiring one as hard as he can.
Yeah.
And you'd cover most of the net well enough that all he could do is really hit the post. And then, of course, it's lying right
It's
there
just...
to just be swept in. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Right, exactly.
I thought Nico Dawes, for all things considered, was pretty good in this game too.
And then, of course, Patty had to score in the third because he's just on a tear.
That was a disgusting goal. It was one of the grossest goals he has scored as a Blue Jacket. 1-on-3 into the zone. David Severson on him. We talked about him with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And just an incredible play.
Literally, it's hard to find words anymore when it comes to Patrick Laine, because it's just he's back.
Right.
He's been back, and he's like, literally, this is what we expected of him. It's what he expects of himself. He's got 15 goals in his last 15 games. Come on.
Right. I mean, he's as hot as he's ever been with the Blue Jackets. He is as hot as he's been in a while, because I can't remember the last time he was this hot with the Jets too. It's been very up and down the last couple of years with him, both in Winnipeg and then last year in Columbus. Mm-hmm. This is good for him. I'm happy for him. It seems like he's finally settling in.
And, we talked about this before. He wants to be here. This is a star that wants to be here.
Yeah.
So, pay him whatever the hell he wants.
I'm telling you, man, give him a long-term deal. Give him the 8 years.
Yeah.
Make it quick.
Give him the Jack contract. Give him the Jack Hughes contract.
I mean, he's going to want more than that.
Well, he's going to want more money, yes. But, in terms of term, give him the full 8.
Yeah, give him the full 8. Absolutely.
As far as the Kings game goes, it was, I'll take it.
It was a frustrating game because there's a lot that bothered me about it. The team seemed very flat in the first period. Not much happened. Then they go down 1-0, and it's cool. Like they get like 3 goals in 46 seconds, I think.
Something like that.
Laine, Bjorkstrand, Danforth. That was really cool.
Well, it was like 3-1. The second period was the only one where they really showed up.
Yeah.
They were still playing fine in the third, but then
you give up 2 goals. one to Dustin Brown, the other to Victor Arvidsson to tie it. The
Mhm.
problem I had was more so it's just frustrating. Like the support of Elvis, man. It's just this dude had such a hard workload.
Yeah.
He
Danforth's
faced
goal was really nice.
43 shots. Like, and it's not.
Yeah, that's a really tough. That one's
It's
definitely
a
a
high
tough
number.
one.
I don't want to see it that high, but my issue is how they played in overtime more than
Yeah.
anything, because they've been really good in overtime this year. They're 6-0 going in this game in overtime.
This is their second overtime loss of the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the other one was a shootout loss. Because in the 3-on-3 overtime, we were 6-0 coming into this season. So like, it was just frustrating because this team, Jake, good God, stay the fuck on side.
It was this close too. Okay.
It was offside. It was offside. There's no debate about whether it was offside or not.
Well, no.
It's like, it's two things. One, it was like, just fucking stay outside. But also, Jake, they scored that goal. We're all celebrating. Yay, let's go. We won. I turned that shit off.
Right.
I didn't find out until 5 minutes later that they called the goal off. What took them so long?
The spirit of this stupid ass rule is what did it.
I have no problem with the rule specifically of onside and being able to check it. But first of all, it was so offside. They should have gotten it immediately. It should have just been blown dead. They should have seen it. But second, like, it was so offside. Why did it take so long?
But then you also know that the reason why this rule is in place, the original Matt Duchene play, he was literally
a mile offside.
He was so offside, like angrily.
He was
offside.
so hilariously offside that he stopped skating for a moment.
Exactly.
And then realized the whistle hadn't blown before he picked up the puck and put it in.
It's the spirit of this rule. And then, like, you see these reviews that we're getting now, the reasons why they take so long is because they're analyzing every single angle from every single millimeter of fucking ice.
Yeah. Like, I get it. Like, I know that they want to, like, I understand why they do it.
There's a difference between
I'm not
getting
saying
the
I
call
necessarily
right and
have
having
a
to
problem with trying to get the play right. I don't have an issue with that. But
when you take 10 minutes to review everything,
yeah, if it takes you 10 minutes to review a fucking call, just like,
it's happened in so many games before. There was a game a couple of seasons ago between the Devils and the Islanders, the one where they were also having goal line issues, where it was like PK was offside by just a fraction.
Yeah.
And they took over 4 minutes to review that.
It was fucking
and it was in overtime.
Avalanche. Was it Sharks Avalanche Game 7?
That one
Landeskog was offside by like a hair.
And I'm pretty sure that was when he was going to the bench.
That's what it was. He was going to the fucking bench. Yeah. And it's like, are you fucking
That's
kidding
not
me?
A part of the play.
This dude's not even a part of the play. It's ridiculous. It's frustrating as hell. Like, look, I'm just being I don't necessarily have an issue with them calling the goal off because yes, Zach was offsides. Yes, it's in overtime. Yeah, I get it. My issue is, first of all, with the team. It's the 8th goal this season that's been called for offsides on the Blue Jackets. 8 fucking goals were called off this year because they couldn't stay the fuck on side. How many more wins would we have if those 8 goals were added? Would we have another win, another 2 wins, maybe another 3 wins? I don't fucking know, but
3, 4 maybe.
I'd like to see. I know for a fact we'd have one more win if we stayed the fuck on side. Would have been last night because it was in overtime. But they just can't do it. There's a discipline issue with this team, and it's not even with penalties. It's with just staying outside.
Yeah, it's literally just like being aware of your surroundings.
Yes, literally. I get wanting to be aggressive, but it's like, come on. Like, what the fuck does it matter being aggressive if it's just going to get called off anyway because you're too overeager.
Yeah. It's a patience issue. It's an awareness issue.
It's definitely an awareness issue for sure. It's something that's got to be fixed.
I don't know how you do that with drills. Like
Here's how you do it. You go into the video room and you show the 8 offside goals and you look at the players and say, "Don't fucking do that."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I don't think there's a drill where you can.
There's no drill. I don't think you have to teach guys who are 25 fucking years old who have been playing hockey for who've been playing
since they
hockey
were
for
3
20 years. So yes, since they were 3. I don't think you need to have specific drills to teach these guys to stay the fuck on side. You just got to look at them and just be like, stay the fuck on side. That's it.
Yeah. This is where they're, yeah. And then I think there's also a point of emphasis with the way officials call it too, because it's like, okay, we know that they're super inconsistent with it.
As they are with everything.
Because they're humans. But yeah, when you call one offside goal back because it's literally like barely a bit of his toe is there, there's a difference between that and what Duchesne did that made this rule a thing.
Because that's the whole reason they implemented it. They wanted it's like what the NFL did with pass interference.
It's a huge cherry picking thing, right?
Where like it's like teams, like you remember the fucking Saints Rams game, right? The pass interference in the NFC Championship game. Dude got nailed before the ball was even there, and they didn't call it. So they were like, "Okay, we're implementing the pass interference rule. You can challenge for pass interference at any play." And the whole reason that they implemented it, the same reason the NHL implemented offsides, was okay. There's this absurd thing that happens that shouldn't have ever fucking happened. We're going to prevent that from happening by putting in a challenge, and teams abuse it because they figure, you know what? This was close. If we could just challenge it and get this thing called off, it's a hell of a lot easier. It's a higher percentage play than, scoring a goal. It is.
How many challenges do you think have been wasted because of fractions?
A lot.
Like
a hell of a lot of challenges have been lost because of fractions. But it's like I said the other night, the Blue Jackets did it against the Penguins, where I said that's why you challenge. That's the whole thought process of challenging. It's 2:17 left in a game. You give up a goal, you're down 3-2. Statistically, factually, there's a higher percentage chance that they're going to call this goal off than we're going to score a goal in 2 minutes and 17 seconds. That is why we're challenging. That's what teams' mindset are. The Kings know for a fact, okay, well, if we don't challenge this, it wasn't even the Kings that challenged it. I think it was just the officials came together and they were like, wait a minute, let's look at this.
I think it was just an official review.
So it's like, okay, so the officials had to do it. The officials put together the review. The officials, the same ones who blew it in the first place and allowed the goal to happen. Wasn't even challenged by Los Angeles. They had to come together and be like, wait a minute, let's check this out. Let's check this out to make sure we didn't fuck up. Which they did. So yeah, I don't have any issues with the Kings winning off of it because, like I said, the goal shouldn't have counted.
Arvidsson getting a hat trick is fun. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. He's a good player. He's having a good
great
season.
Player.
Really good. I liked it. I love that trade in the offseason because we talked about it a little bit. I thought that was one of the more underrated moves of the offseason.
I'm trying to see who the other goal was.
I'm not salty about the fact that they lost as much as I am that it's frustrating.
That's right. It was Dustin Brown.
They have no awareness.
Yeah.
Zach. Here's the other thing, man. It's Zach. I love Zach to death, but Zach, man, you're the only defenseman on the ice. You should be trailing the fucking play. I know you love to jump up into the play, but you got 2 forwards. It's 3-on-3. You don't need to jump up like that.
Right.
It's not like it was like a significant on-man rush.
It's not like what the Red Wings used to do where they attack the blue line flat with all 5 of their guys.
Yeah, no. It's not like that, which I always thought was a stupid fucking strategy. I hate that strategy. you give yourself no spacing by
giving
doing
up
that.
so many like just total breakaways, 2-on-0s.
True, because it's like you give yourself no spacings, which gives you it kind of takes away your offense. But also, if you turn the puck over,
You're
it's
fucked.
a breakaway. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I don't necessarily hate the rule per se.
Right.
I'm most upset with the Blue Jackets for being fucking offsides. I'm most upset with them, but it is a frustration of like the officials fuck up this call. Hey Jake, people left the fucking arena.
Yeah.
It took that long. People left the arena thinking the Blue Jackets had won, huge win.
How many times do you think that happens because a review takes that long? How many people do you think?
I turned the game off, Jake. I'm not even kidding. In that one group chat that I talked about with that has a bunch of Devils fans in it. There's one Kings fan, and like I was like, yes, let's go, dub. I'm excited. I turn the game off. I go back to watching Survivor. 5 minutes later in this fucking group chat, that Kings fan is adding me like, haha, offsides. And I'm like, what? I go back. The fucking goal's called off. What the fuck took him so long? I didn't even know what was happening.
It's like what I said with the overtime goal with the Devils and the Islanders, right? Same thing. That took 4 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
In overtime. How many fans left Prudential Center during that game? Like,
yeah.
During the review, like,
it's ridiculous. And I get it. If they don't call the goal off, then you're going to be getting an earful from Kings fans.
Yeah.
Of like, the fuck's wrong with you? It was offside.
But then you also got an earshot from Columbus fans going, the fuck is wrong with you?
Exactly. And you want to know why? It's because they just didn't get the fucking call right to begin with. And my issue isn't like, oh my God, just fraction of a second, like split second play, I could see it. No, I thought it was offsides to a point where it should have just been called originally. They should have just seen it. The play should have just been blown dead.
Pretty much.
And you kill your momentum. If you go offsides like that, it's whatever. It's not like momentum's killed on either side. The Blue Jackets get that goal taken off the board. I knew that was it. Yeah, the goal got called off. The Kings won. The second that goal got called off, the Kings won the game.
I don't know.
It was just a matter of, is this going to be in 3-on-3 overtime or in the shootout?
Right. And lo and behold, hat trick goal sends everybody home disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But I mean, I still get it. The Kings are in a, really weirdly tight race now in the West.
You knew you were going to get the Kings best because, first of all, I think they're a good team.
Yeah.
I do. I think they're a very good team. I liked what they looked like going into this season. Mm-hmm. They've played about what I expected.
Byfield's finally getting some time.
They haven't gotten necessarily as good a goaltending as I thought they'd get from Peterson, but it's been picked up because of the play of
Jonathan Quick has turned it back the clock.
But yeah, God, I love the Victor Arvidsson trade.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's the young guns, man. They got a bright future. They're gonna be so good.
Philip Deneau's having a career year.
Yeah, Philip Deneau, like he's noted goal scorer now.
Yeah, he's got 16
he's
now.
Always been great defensively. He's been a pretty solid playmaker, but he's the goal scoring is just one thing that's just never really been a significant part of his game. But he's been outstanding at putting the puck in the net this year.
He's got 16 goals this year already. Like he's already crashed his career high by like 3.
Yeah. I mean, he can get up to
20. He can reach 20. He's got time.
He's got more than enough time to reach 20. He might get to 25. Who knows if he has like a red hot Patrick Laine-like streak, maybe he can get to 30.
Patty's got what, 21 goals right now?
He does.
It's Boone with 23 and Petty with 21, and then I think Oliver's got like 19. But he could have got 20.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I'll take it against someone in the other conference getting a point out of it.
Are you ready for this? I'm not sure if you're aware of this because I just found this out just now. After last night's game, despite only playing in 36 games, Patrick Laine's third on the team in points.
Oh my God.
He moved past Oliver.
Oh my God.
And Oliver's having a solid season.
Yeah, Oliver's having an Oliver-like season.
He is. It's exactly what you'd expect from Oliver. He's been great and
great in both ends, and then just Patrick Laine is like, I'm here now. I'm surprised Patty didn't get a Kepi from either of us, but I mean, a first NHL goal, and and then
right.
Obviously ceremonial stuff going on, but yeah, I'll take it, especially going into a night like tonight where you're playing Boston, which is the biggest chance to catch up so far this year in the playoff.
It is the number one chance that you have to catch up, because even though the team everybody's looking at is Washington, well, winning helps at all, because I mean, you get 2 points. So if you were to win tonight's game, you'd be exactly tied in games played with both the Bruins and the Capitals. The Bruins would stay at 70. The Capitals would stay at 67. We'd be up to 60. That's assuming it's a regulation win.
Right.
We'd be tied with the Capitals in just wins.
Oh.
The difference is they got 9 overtime losses this year.
Oh, right. And Columbus only has 2.
Exactly.
I remember there was a couple seasons ago where we had like 11, and that's the only way we got into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just personally, like real quick, we don't need to make this like a super long conversation. I hate the point system in the NHL.
Yeah, the point system needs fixing. I can't stand
it. College hockey does it significantly better because they do the 3-point system, where it's 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for an overtime loss.
Yep.
Because that way you're not pulling points just out of the air.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you can be, God, you don't have to have an incredibly great record. You don't have to win a ton of hockey games in order to make the playoffs if you just get to overtime in this system. And it's frustrating. Because the Blue Jackets are going to, if they win tonight, regardless if it's regulation or overtime, they're going to be tied with the Capitals in wins, and they're going to be 7 points behind them.
It's crazy.
I think there should be
stupid.
You should be rewarded to some degree for, after 60 minutes of play having the same score. You didn't lose. You get a point. But what we are saying is, because you couldn't get it done in regulation, you're not going to get the full 3 points.
Right.
I wish I would have thought of this earlier. I'd love to see like what the calculation would look like in a 3-point system if you went by the entire season.
In a 3-2-1 system?
In a 3-2-1 system. I wonder how much closer the race would be between the Blue Jackets and the Capitals.
It would honestly probably be a lot closer.
It would probably be a matter of like 2 points, to be honest with you. And that's just, I wish that they would change that system. I think it's the most fair system, because at the end of the day, Jake, overtime losses, sure, I don't mind giving credit to a team, giving them a point for getting to overtime, but overtime losses don't mean dick in the playoffs.
No, because they don't.
Because it's a loss.
Yeah.
It's a fucking loss. That's it. You lost the game. So I don't know why we reward teams so much for losing in overtime.
The regular season, I kind of get it, but it's also just like, no.
That's what I mean, though, because like I get like rewarding a team by giving them a point for getting to overtime. It's just that the scale is so skewed, because 1 point is really fucking close to 2, and 2 points is all you get for a regulation win.
The Capitals having 9 overtime losses, they have 4 games worth of wins in overtime losses.
It's crazy because a 9-2 win is a 1 point difference between a 4-3 loss in overtime. Like, isn't that kind of like fucked?
It's so fucked. It's the worst.
I just don't think it's a realistic system, and they've had it for years. I don't know. I know I'm not the only person who has this issue.
But then you also have the shootout gimmick for TV purposes, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah. Which I also like shootout wins. Like, sure, you can get the extra point, but it doesn't go to your regulation overtime wins category,
which is weird.
For the tiebreaker. Which I appreciate, because it's like, okay, neither of you can do this in regulation or overtime. This is determining who gets the extra point, but like, we're not going to reward you that much for it.
Right, because the shootout is stupid. And
yeah, it was fun at first, man. When they introduced it in 2005, it was really fun, but 17 years, it's gotten old. Yeah. And now people are pissed off with how much it affects the standings. But Jake, it wouldn't affect the standings as much if you had a 3-2-1 system. Just saying.
Yeah. 1-1 going into Nash night. There's a lot of stories with Nash night.
God, there's
obviously. Because it's like, we're going to specifically talk about Rick at the end of the show, but it's Foligno's first game back in Columbus since leaving for Toronto in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And then it's John Corrali's first game against the Boston Bruins in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, man. I was just realizing this because we are now, what are we? So we started that stretch. Toronto, Florida, Carolina, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Los Angeles. We're 6 games into it. The Blue Jackets are 3-2-1 in this stretch.
I didn't expect that.
No, neither of us expected it. 4-3 win over Toronto in regulation. Or no, that was the overtime one, right? Yeah, that was
that one took overtime. Yes, that was line A.
6-3 win over Florida in regulation,
which was weird.
It was a crazy game. 4-0 loss to Carolina. They were exhausted. I gave them a pass for
Carolina.
that. 3-2 loss in Pittsburgh in regulation.
It's Pittsburgh.
Sucked that they couldn't get a point out of that, but it is what it is because it got. What are you gonna do? Crosby, Malkin.
Yeah. Chad Ruedel. I'm still salty and weirded out by how that goal went in.
Your guy, Mark Friedman's been playing well for them lately.
Freedsy's save right there at the goal line.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of, because I follow a lot of Penguins fans on Twitter too. They've really liked Mark Friedman the last month. His game's been really good.
Good. It's good to see him have, regular time too.
Yeah. New Jersey is a team that we expect to beat. Mm-hmm. We beat them 4-3. That was good to see. And LA, that game could have gone either way. You at least got a point out of it.
Yeah.
But no, this 6-game stretch, this is the most important. We still have 2 more games in it. Obviously, tonight against Boston, then 2 nights from now against Toronto. So we'll have the opportunity to recap both games on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in this,
we're trying to do something special for Tuesday too, but we'll save that.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible, isn't it? They are doing a lot better in this stretch than we expected, at least to this point.
This is definitely more impressive, maybe not record-wise, but in terms of just watching how they're performing, it's definitely more impressive than the 12-6 start.
I agree with that 100%.
Chicago!
What do they do now?
They removed the interim tag from Kyle Davidson. So he is now the full-time GM.
Oh, that's nice to hear. No, we were just talking about this the other day, but then we had some issues with Zoom. So no, this is good. This is a guy. God, he was an intern when he was 21 with the Blackhawks.
He was a video intern. At 22 years old.
I mean, this guy put in the work. He did everything that he could over the last several years with them.
11 years.
Yeah. Good for him. He deserves it. He's a young guy, and clearly they believe that he can lead them in the right direction because they're in a very unique situation where they're definitely rebuilding, but they've got some older pieces.
That's the thing too, is he actually came out and said rebuild.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they need to rebuild. Here's the thing, like they're not a very good team. They're struggling. They don't have their first round pick because of the Jones trade.
Mm-hmm.
Your best goalie is Marc-Andre Fleury, who is 37, who is not going to be with you next year.
Who knows if he's going to stay for the rest of this year? It's up to him.
You're probably going to trade him at the deadline. You're going to figure out where you can deal him, and you're going to deal him at the deadline just to get assets.
Well, that's also Mark's decision. Like he's got to,
I'd be stunned if Marc-Andre Fleury was like, I want to stay in Chicago for the rest of the season.
Well, maybe if it's a family thing. Like if they just
it could be. It absolutely.
They don't want to move again.
Yeah, it could be for sure. But I'd be stunned because he's a competitor.
Right.
And not to mention, man, I mean, that's just, I don't even know if the Blackhawks are an organization I want to stay with for longer than the next couple of months.
Especially with what went down this season.
Exactly. It's a very, very...
It's a shaky organization
right now.
Negative
vibe around it right now, doesn't it?
It's
gotta be hard to come to the rink as a Blackhawks player this year,
unless you're Caden Taves.
Yeah.
Which honestly, okay, so we know they're going to be building around Alex and maybe Dylan Strome, as they should. And, you have Brendan Hagel, who you might deal.
Which I don't know why. I think he's a solid player.
No, he's very solid.
I'd keep him.
Yeah. You got Kevin Lankinen is a UFA.
You hope to build around Kirby Dach, but his
numbers... Poor Docker. And I feel bad for him.
And he's in the bottom 3 for goals saved above it. He's like minus 10 goals above expected this year. He's been terrible.
He's a UFA, so I don't know what you do in net.
Yeah, I don't know where you. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I don't know where you go in that because it's not like they have any outstanding goaltending prospects.
They have one kid. That's all we know about.
Yeah, so it's like Lankinen.
Isn't Delia up too? Like he's in the minors, but isn't his?
I don't know if he's up. He might have another year after this, but even then, Delia's 28, 29, and his NHL numbers aren't that good. It's like, where are they going net? Because Fleury's not going to be back next year. Lankinen, I doubt, is going to be back next year.
Right.
The fuck do they do?
I have no idea. And then, so up front, you've got guys like Cat, you've got Strome, you got Hagel.
Which I don't even know if they do with Strome. I would keep him. I like Dylan Strome. But it seems like
we both love Dylan Strome. Again, he's one of our Otter guys.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to trade him.
Which is weird because he's been having a really good year.
And I wonder if that's just
you need some sort of positivity coming out of this.
I think it might just be a situation where they're not trying to give him a long-term deal because they don't see him as a part of their future. So they're trying to deal him while his value's still up. But maybe. I don't know. I would just give him an extension and ride it out with him. I think he's a good player. I'd like to see him play consistently with Cat.
Yeah, because it's like Cat's been playing on and off with Strome and Jonathan.
I know no fan wants to discuss it. And I know if any GM were to ever do it, they would get criticized. But Kyle Davidson has to absolutely explore the possibility of trading one of or both of Kane and Taves.
I was just going to say, that's the elephant in the room, right?
Because nobody in Chicago wants to do it. I think Chicago fans aren't stupid.
No.
They know it is in their best interest to do it. They know it's in their best interest to trade these two players who are aging, who are not going to be able to win a Stanley Cup with this team again because they're rebuilding. They can get good value for them. It would help jumpstart the rebuild. But
as much as they're storied players with this team,
they know that it's a smart thing to do. But it's like these guys have been Blackhawks for life.
Yeah, and
And
it's like what we talk about with the possibility of getting rid of Malkin, Crosby, and Letang. Like,
yeah, it's like
they're Penguins lifers. There's no way in hell that's happening.
You're gonna see Gino in another uniform. You're gonna see Letang in another jersey. Like, no, you could stomach seeing Brian Rust in a different jersey.
Right.
You can't stomach Gino or Chris Letang in another jersey.
Right, exactly.
So that's 100% the situation where Blackhawks fans are in that position where they're like, no, they can't go to other teams.
Send Patrick home to Buffalo.
I mean, that's been rumored for a little bit that like if he becomes a free agent that he might go there towards the end of his career, but I've never bought into it because I always thought he was going to be a Blackhawk for life.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of what he wants, but yeah, no, that's the tough. Those are the tough conversations that this young kid who is now the general manager is going to have because it is absolutely in the team's best interest for a rebuild to trade these guys.
Well,
but
it's strange too because like of their roles in the scandal, right?
Yeah, that whether people want to believe it or not, I think that absolutely has an impact on this.
Because they let this happen.
If they were two guys who had no fucking clue about it. Because here's the other thing, man. Like Taves, as far as I'm concerned, his record's squeaky clean in terms of him off the ice, outside of the scandal. Which
we talked about that, in like previous episodes where we specifically dove into the scandal.
Where if Taves had no fucking, I don't know how he would have no clue because he was the captain of the team. But
right,
if it is possible where like you could put things together and be like, oh my god, this guy actually had no fucking clue this was going on. Like, it's impossible to trade the captain of your franchise who's been a noted good guy throughout the course of his career if he doesn't have that like stain on his resume. You got to keep that dude. Whereas with Patrick Kane, like even if you could say, oh, he didn't know about it, well, he's still got all the other incidents off the ice too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have all of Kane's reputation outside of the rink.
So Kane having that outside reputation on top of the fact that he absolutely knew what was going on and didn't say anything. God, that's a tough.
I don't think. Yeah, it's a really hard moral situation specifically.
Because it's hard for me as a GM. Yes, he's absolutely one of the greatest Blackhawks of all time. He's probably going to go down as a top. He might be the greatest, but he's definitely going to go down as a top 3 American player of all time.
Absolutely. Just in terms of play, yes.
But God, you have to consider trading him. No fan wants to do it just because of the principle of it. But it's in your best interest for not just on the ice reasons, for off the ice reasons too. You got to get rid of the stench in the room.
Yeah,
whether you like it or not, those two guys, they played a role in it.
They played a huge role in it. They just sat back and
By doing nothing, you're doing something. That was the case with those two guys. And then when the investigation was going on and the questions were being asked about it, how disingenuous they were.
Yeah.
It's put a huge black eye on.
And then you find the picture of like them celebrating with the Pronger message like in the background.
Yeah.
Like
it's like there's a lot
of layers with just these two dudes.
Because here's the thing, man. Those are the only two guys left really from it. Think about that team. Hjalmarsson, the 2010 Blackhawks, Hjalmarsson's gone. Corey
he just had his legacy night too.
Yeah, so Hjalmarsson's gone. Seabrook's gone. Patrick Sharp is gone.
Keith's out.
Is gone. Dustin Byfuglien, Andrew Ladd, all those guys are gone, have been gone for years.
Right.
The coach is gone. The GM is now gone. The only two that remain are those two.
Kane and Taves.
And if you trade both of them, you can jumpstart your rebuild because the value you'll get in draft picks and prospects, you'll also free up a ton of money in free agency. So it's a hell of a lot easier to
And I mean,
stomach
you're gonna
contract.
need that, yeah, with the Jones contract kicking in next
And
year. Because
you
it's
can
what he's making $5 million this year, and then his extension kicks
he's
in
jumping
next year.
to 9.5. So it's, God, Jake, it's just in so many different ways, it's the right thing to do. You can restart not just with a rebuild, but you can just restart in general and build. At that point, who's the franchise player?
Alex
It's Alex
DeBrincat.
DeBrincat.
Yeah,
What a nice breath of fresh air is
model
that.
player.
Oh my God.
We've talked.
First of all, he's an outstanding player. He's a good dude.
He's literally like of the three leaders between Kane and Taves and Cat. He had the best statement over the whole scandal.
He wasn't a part of it. He had the best statement by far, and he was outstanding in the whole process.
Yeah.
Of it. He showed leadership. Here's the thing, I have no doubt in my mind that he's also going to be a guy that's in Chicago for a long time. And whenever Kane and Taves is gone, whether it be through trade or just, if they stay with the organization, retire.
Well, who's also going to stomach a contract that they have? Like it's 10.5 on the cap for both of those dudes.
They have to retain some salary, I think.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that's an issue because Fleury's contract's going to be coming off the books. But, dude, the Alex DeBrincat's the next captain of the Blackhawks.
Oh, absolutely. It's
and
like
I think more than deserving of it.
It's Cat and maybe Seth with an A, and then
Seth could probably get an A, and then if you keep Strome, he can get an A. But
if you keep Strome, maybe Hagel.
Depends on how much Kirby Doc progresses. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. What do they do on D as well? Because beyond Seth and there's Calvin DeHaan.
Calvin DeHaan's a UFA this year. They might deal him at the deadline.
Could deal him.
They got Connor Murphy locked up.
They got Connor. Okay.
Riley Stillman.
Oh, that's right. There is Stillman, another 61.
But yeah, there's
and they got Caleb too. They got both of the Jones brothers.
They're not great on defense. It's not like they have a great prospect pool. They have no goalies of note. It's a tough situation. The Blackhawks, it's a brutal situation.
It's so brutal with literally just Stan Bowman resigns. Kyle takes over on an interim basis, and then they finally remove it.
Yeah.
So now he knows he's got a lot of work.
Because here's the thing, man. Like I said, it's not like he's just taking over a nightmare team that doesn't have a goaltender moving forward in the prospect pool or just immediately because Mark Andre first contract's coming up. Mm-hmm. He's also looking at a defense that you got Seth Jones locked up, but you also got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of expiring contracts. The defense isn't great. They also got Jake McCabe.
Oh, they do.
Yep. But you got two aging franchise forwards in Kane and Taves. You got a couple solid pieces. DeBrincat's great, like we mentioned, but also Hagel, Strome, stuff like that. But it's a rebuilding team. It's not a very good team. You're not sure of the coach. On top of all of that, it's a PR nightmare.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just
I'm telling you, man. Look, I get taking over. If you were to take over as GM today of any team in the National Hockey League, there are some teams that are rough. Taking over the Coyotes would be rough. Taking over the Oilers and because of what Ken Holland has done to them would be rough. Taking over the Kraken because they're a new franchise and they kind of blew it in the expansion draft. That would be rough. Taking over the Flyers and what Chuck Fletcher's done to them would be rough. I don't think there's a situation that is harder in the National Hockey League as the general manager to come in and take over and try to rebuild than the Chicago Blackhawks, not only because of the situation they're in with their current roster, but just because of the fucking PR nightmare that they are.
Know what you do. Like we've made jokes, and I mean, there actually is a job listing for public relations with the Blackhawks, and nobody's going to take it.
Why the fuck would anybody take it? Who wants to take that job? I don't know about you, Jake. I like getting sleep at night.
I've said it. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I would not take this job.
Fuck no. Nobody would. You'd be out of your mind to take it.
As much as I feel like with the way that I see, the sport and the way that things should be said, I couldn't find words to fix it, like as a PR person.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to move on. Another tougher thing, we know the current political climate with Russia and Ukraine and all of this. There's a lot of stuff going on in the hockey world surrounding this.
Yes.
The NHL's response, EA's response, the IIHF's response. There's a lot of stuff going on where they're just like, the IIHF banned Russian and Belarusian players for the next couple of tournaments, or at least paused their involvement.
Yeah.
The NHL, I don't know what you do, because like players, we know Alexander Ovechkin and his stances just publicly because he's Alex Ovechkin. But then you have guys like Svechnikov, and you have all of Dan Milstein's Russian clients, where it's just like, why are people attacking these players when sometimes really the only thing that's related is that these guys are Russian, and that is it.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. You know why it is. It's because people are fucking stupid. That's the easiest way to fucking explain it.
Milstein's Ukrainian, like,
yeah,
or at least of Ukrainian descent. And Gold Star has a plethora of Russian clients.
Here's the tough thing. I feel bad for the Russian players.
Yes.
They don't deserve the shit that they're going through,
especially
right now.
Guys like
Svechnikov. We haven't heard a ton of what's going on with Gavrikov, but I'm sure that they probably receive some shit for no reason.
Or Tarasov.
I think of guys like Tarasenko. There's a lot of really great.
Think about the really young guys like Chinny too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's kids in junior leagues that are,
And there are guys in Russia right now. Think about it for Voronkov and Marchenko, what they got to be going through right now.
Are they going to be able to come over? Like,
that's a tough situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel for them because it's not their fault.
No.
It's not like they asked for this. It's not like they were condoning this to happen.
All Ovi could say, because he's kind of just an athlete. Never mind, he's a face, but he's kind of just an athlete, right?
Yeah.
So all he could say was,
all he could say was, please no more war. I felt bad for Ovi because like he's in a tough situation where he can't really say anything. His family's in Russia, and because Putin has been so involved, they've been so involved with each other. He doesn't want to put his family in danger.
Right.
I don't blame him for that. Because
there's a whole law that they might pass where it's like, if you say anything, it's like 15 years jail time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's bad. But then you also have guys like Bread who are, Panarin is openly against.
He's never going back to Russia.
Vlad Putin. Yeah.
No chance. Yeah.
But then, like I said, you have junior players, 16 and 17-year-old kids.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the bands and stuff like that. Like, I think CCM decided they're dropping like all Russian clients, but I think it's fucking stupid.
They're dropping Ovi as like the brand ambassador, and then they have,
and then they
or at least they're suspending Ovechkin on branding stuff.
I think that's so dumb.
And the same thing with EA, like they pulled all the KHL and Belarusian teams from the game, from NHL 22 until further notice. Like,
well, they don't have KHL teams in Chell,
or at least like the national teams.
They just pulled like the national teams.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what I read in the Wyshynski article was, at least like towards the end, they're hoping that a lot of this like suspension of these particular national, polls or whatever is going to be temporary, right? Because they still want to play in Siberia for these tournaments. And
I just hate the idea of, I understand why they're doing it. I totally understand, because they're doing everything they can. Everybody who with power is trying to do everything they can to punish Russia for this, right?
It's a stance thing, right? It's a moral stance thing.
It's a moral stance, and we're doing everything in our power. This company does this. This company does this. This company does this. They're all doing this, as well as outside countries with sanctions and stuff like that. Everybody's doing everything they can to punish Russia so they eventually get to a point where they stop it. But as a direct result of that, innocent people from Russia are getting punished, and it sucks, but you understand why they're doing it. And it's like same with Belarus, because like we talked about this with Alex, like we've had, you and I have had discussions with some of the smaller countries and how they've developed players and how they're developing the sport of hockey, not playing in the next couple of juniors or whatever, like kind of tournaments and stuff like that. It sucks for Belarus because
they're one of those developing countries.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything, but like it's an opportunity for guys like Igor Shesterkin and Alexei Protas to have an opportunity to play and showcase their skills, while also trying to like be like, hey, people in Belarus, you should play hockey. It's a fun sport. We can get better at this the same way that Latvia has gotten better, and Switzerland and all these other
Denmark
countries.
And all the
Denmark, Germany. So like I get it. I understand why they're doing it. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I just feel bad for the players who are affected by it, because they don't have an actual part.
Whether you're a big name like Ovechkin or Panarin, or you're, a prospect like Mishkov,
like Daniil Tarasov.
Like I feel bad for Rodion Amirov too, because he's going through his whole.
He's going through a lot right now.
He's going through a lot right now with his cancer diagnosis as well, on top of this. So it's like, man, Dan Milstein has his work cut out for him with his clients and just trying to make sure they're feeling better about this.
He does. Yeah, it's tough. I just hope it gets better for them.
Yeah. Apparently the Capitals are doing something with like specifically the Capitals are doing something with Ukraine flags and Russian flags.
They banned Ukraine and Russian flags in the arena. Like you're not allowed to bring them.
Which
isn't in a PR sake the best look.
Yeah. I don't know there is just getting out of the muck of this, because we don't know how long this conflict's going to last. We hope it doesn't affect the sport we love so much very much.
Yeah.
But, these organizations are going to do what they're going to do until something is fixed.
Yeah.
And like Wyshynski said, we hope this is all just temporary.
Oh, 100%.
There is a Russian guy that we have paid a lot of attention to, not just Alex Ovechkin, who WoW is literally just like, WoW is the best term for it.
Oh, yeah.
Here is a tweet that I want to read to you. From Dmitry Filipovic.
Oh, God, I love him.
Igor Shesterkin so far in 2022. You ready for this?
Yes, I saw this tweet. But read it.
16 games, 27 goals against total, a 950 save percentage, 950. And he's won 13 out of 16.
Yes.
so far in this calendar year. Yeah, when are we going to start considering this dude for the Hart Trophy?
We should have been doing it a long time ago. He's my number one pick for Hart right now.
He would be the first goalie since Carey Price, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He
the only
is...
4 goals. I saw this because I looked it up the other day because I was curious. Only 4 goalies have ever won the Hart.
Really?
And hilariously, 3 of the 4 did it while they were playing in Montreal. it was Jacques Plante.
Was
Carey
it Wah?
Price obviously did it. What?
Was it Wah?
Nope.
No?
This one is surprising.
Okay.
It was Jose Theodore.
Oh, Theodore.
Back in 2002.
Okay.
And then the other goalie to win it, any guesses?
Hasek.
Yep. He won in back-to-back years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's the only guy who's done it in back-to-back years. That's insane.
Wow. No wonder they call him the Dominator, right?
God, he's unbelievable.
But I mean, like, dude, Igor is literally a brick wall this year.
He is.
Like, there's just how with again, I don't have words.
Yeah. I think the Rangers as a result have been a little overrated as a team.
Just a little bit, but
just because look, they got good pieces. Adam Fox is unbelievable. He won the
Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider is having an amazing year.
Ryan Strome, I think, is a solid piece. Mika Zibanejad's great.
The 2 kids up front, are trying.
I'll give this credit to Lafreniere. Lafreniere has been excellent the last month since they put him on the top line. He's been excellent. Kakko is still lost.
Yeah, Kakko is not having a great time.
And it's like, outside of that, Jake, I mean, the Rangers are a very average team. A very average team that's getting carried by high-end talent. It's a very average team that's winning games because they've got the best goalie in the league by a mile this year. They've got one of the best defensemen. They got a top 3 defenseman, Anna Fox.
A reigning Norris winner.
Yeah, they've got a couple really great players in Panarin and Mika Zibanejad. Chris Kreider's having a great year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. That's kind of how they're constructed.
And I mean,
not a lot of depth to this team.
Well, it's funny because
they wanted to win a Stanley Cup. You know who they could really use this year?
Say the name.
They could really use a guy like Pavel Buchnevich.
Oh,
he'd be a good addition to the top 6.
I mean, Blaze helped in the bottom.
Not really.
A little bit.
He's out for the year.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was tough because Blay wasn't really doing that much, and then he got hurt for the year. So it's like, wow, okay, this is great. We traded him for a 2nd-round pick.
Right. Better be a decent 2nd-round pick.
Well, you know who's a really good 3rd-round pick? Pavel Buchnevich. Just saying.
They're just saying. Yeah, I think he's absolutely gonna at least get a few votes because I mean this is a Connor McDavid award. Because it's like, come on.
Any winner besides Igor Shesterkin for the Hart is going to be a crime.
Well, okay. So we have the Hart, which is the writer's MVP, right? And then the Ted Lindsay is the player's MVP.
I think he's going to win it. I think people are smart enough to realize that this kind of level, we've seen incredible goaltending. We've seen Carey Price have an incredible season before when he won the Hart.
We've seen Dominic Hasek pull near 930 or 940.
Yeah, but like Igor's doing the same thing.
Igor's doing 950 in just like a couple of months.
Like it's not even. Here's the thing, man. It's not even just the underlying numbers, the analytics that go behind him that make him so special as a goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the pure stats. He's right now in 35 games started for the Rangers. 27, 6-3, a goals against average of 196, less than 2, and a save percentage of 940. Jake, do you know what's most impressive about the most impressive
that
part
goals
about
against average is what?
the consistency with him? He only has 3 shutouts this year,
What?
which you would think might be like draw away. No, I think that adds to his case because it shows that just about every night he's only giving up a goal. It's not like he's had a couple really incredible games. Like he's got 7 shutouts this year, so like that's really helping his numbers. And the other games pretty good, but no, he is consistently only giving up like 1 goal, like for every like 20 shots he faces.
And maybe 2 on a given night.
It's insane. It's unbelievable. I've never seen this from a goaltender.
It's friggin' what? And he's so young. For a goaltender, he's so young.
They beat the Devils last night 3-1. The Devils, remember, I know the Devils aren't a great team, Jake, but we talked about this. The
They've
Devils
got offensive firepower like crazy.
They got offensive firepower. They've been coming together. He stopped 32 of 33 like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. Oh no, he had an off night against the Blues. He had an off night against the Blues. Considering the season, it was an off night. He stopped 29 to 32. That was an off night for him.
That is an off night.
And they won.
Oh my god. This fucking guy. This guy.
He stopped 25 to 26 against the Penguins, and they lost because they didn't score a goal.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't that the same? Wasn't that the same night of the 10-7 Detroit Red Wings and Maple Leafs game?
Yeah, it was the same night. This dude on the road against the Pittsburgh Penguins gave up 1 goal in their building, and it was a power play goal to Evgeny Malkin. And they lost. It's ridiculous. It's a crime. It's a crime if he doesn't win the Hart.
Yeah, you're convincing me for sure.
The Vezina's locked.
Yeah, the Vezina's total lock.
Like the
Vezina was locked like 2 months ago.
Yeah. No, he needs to win the Hart. He deserves that.
And just because Connor McDavid's going to get it again.
I'm gonna be upset if he does. Genuinely. It's at what point does it be like if that happens? At what point do you just like stop even doing the freaking award if people aren't gonna take it seriously?
Right. I mean, yeah, I would assume Igor at the very minimum, if he does not get the Hart, he's getting the Ted Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
Like he will be getting the Ted Lindsay if he does not win the Hart.
I mean, do you know who should be like seriously in Hart discussions who nobody's fucking talking about?
Who?
Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yes, absolutely. He's what, third in the league in points right now?
Yeah, it's third in the league in the points. Third in the league in points. He's got 18 goals, 57 assists for 75 points in 54 games. He's averaging assists a little bit more than an assist per game.
Wow.
He's plus 23.
Oh.
It's unbelievable. This dude is one of the most underrated players in the league because nobody talks about him because he plays for the Panthers. But he's great. He's been great for a while. People need to pay attention.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of another trophy, the Calder. I've got a whole bunch of rookies. Like
more outsider.
I mean, we know it's going to be more.
Make it nice and easy. It's probably going to be Zegras, but it should be cider.
So here's like they have this whole thing. I stole this from the NHL's Twitter or whatever. They have 16 guys on here, and I don't know how you have 16 guys on here when it's really a race between 3 and 2 of them are on the same team.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to give like their shout out and credit to all the rookies who are doing well. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned a guy like Tanner Jeannot's having a good season. He's not really going to get any significant recognition because it's between 3 guys. But
well, here's the 16. I just want to read them because they've all had really, really nice like bits and pieces here and there, right?
Let's hear it.
Matt Boldy for the Minnesota Wild.
Solid kid. I like him. I like his game.
Martin Ferravari, defenseman for the Caps.
Interesting. I didn't expect to hear his name, but he's been pretty solid for them.
Yeah. Seth Jarvis, Hurricanes.
Okay.
Tanner Janot, Nashville Predators.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've loved his game. Capo Kakinen, the Wild.
Interesting. Yeah.
Jamie Drysdale, kind of a down year, but meh.
I'm surprised because how many games did he play in last year for them?
I don't know. I guess not enough.
Interesting.
Cole Caulfield, who's definitely bouncing back now with Marty St. Louis.
He's bouncing back. He's been better the last couple of months. It's just hilarious to hear his name on that list.
Yeah. Anton Lundell for the Panthers.
He's good.
He's very good.
Interesting. Drysdale played in 24 games last year for the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of naturally assumed that they wouldn't.
Isn't the threshold like 26?
That's hilarious.
Like to not be considered a rookie.
I thought it was you play more than 20, you're not really a rookie anymore.
Oh,
fair enough.
I thought the threshold was like 26 or something arbitrary like that.
Okay.
Dawson Mercer for the Devils, which we talked about him with Alex a lot. Nedeljkovic is still in Calder running somehow.
What?
I guess he didn't play enough.
I thought he was going to win. I thought he was like in the top 3 for Calder.
He was in the top 3 last year.
What the fuck? The fuck NHL.
I don't know. Alex Newhook for the Avalanche.
Okay.
Zegras, of course, because he's Trevor Zegras and he's amazing.
Yeah.
Jeremy Swayman.
Swayman hasn't been talked about enough. He's unbelievable.
Swayman has not been talked about enough. He's been unbelievable in Boston.
That dude was so good at UMaine. I really liked his game. I did not know he'd be this good this quick.
Mm-hmm. 26-year-old rookie Michael Bunting.
I was waiting to hear his name.
I wanted to list him near the end. And then you have the 2 Red Wings, Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider.
Yeah. Here's how it should finish. Seider 1, Raymond 2, Zegras 3.
That's more than likely how it's going to end up.
It's how it should end up. Can I tell you how I think it's going to end up?
Moritz 1.
No. I think it's going to be Zegras 1, Raymond 2, Seider 3.
Oh, did you know that our episode...
Just knowing the NHL and how things work. Did
you know that our episode Types of Cider is like our biggest episode right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great different kinds of cider. You know, apple cider, Moritz cider. I don't know. I tried to come up with more ciders and I couldn't.
I know, right?
Hard cider.
Yeah. And then I want to end on our thoughts about Rick Nash because tonight is Nash night.
It's interesting because I talked about this. One of my buddies asked me, who's a Bruins fan, ahead of the game, asked me just like, what does Rick Nash mean to the Blue Jackets organization?
Everything.
And it's kind of a complicated answer, isn't it?
I mean, like, okay.
Just because of like the history around everything. Like think about it. The Blue Jackets are expansion franchise. The first 2 years, it's like whatever, because it was in an era where expansion drafts were a lot harder to come by players. Nobody was really good out of the gate. Like Vegas is the outlier.
The biggest anomaly of them all. Yeah.
So the Blue Jackets make an interesting trade at the draft. They trade their pick. I think they had the 3rd overall pick to the Panthers. They get the 1st overall pick, and the agreement was in next year's draft, no matter where the Jackets pick, the Panthers can swap picks with them if the Blue Jackets are higher. Hilariously, the Panthers got the number 1 pick overall anyway, and then they ended up trading it to Pittsburgh, and that's the pick they used to get Marc-Andre Fleury. But we get Rick Nash. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the number 1 pick, think about the hype you have around a number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about that now with the generational.
Yeah.
Like even with the non-generational talents, look at like guys like Rasmus Dahlin and Alexis Lafreniere. Look at how much hype those guys ended up getting still.
Yeah, exactly. And The
Nico
hype
Hischier
around
got so much. Yeah,
was unbelievable,
it was
and
amazing.
he lived up to it. Big power forward who can skate with a long reach and a really, really good shot. And this dude, no matter what the year was, you could absolutely bank, put the house on it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Vegas, put the house on this dude is getting 30 goals
Right.
every year. No matter what happened, he was getting 30 goals. A couple times he got 40. He was an unbelievable talent. He lived up to it. And
Couple gold medals with Canada.
Yep. It was a really good piece, really good guy. They named
He's
him
in the front office now.
Yeah, they named him the captain. Everybody liked him. And for a decade, he was our best player. He embraced the city, and the Blue Jackets went fucking nowhere.
Which is the biggest shame of all. Like,
It's just a shame on the organization. It's a black. That's why the Rick Nash legacy with the Blue Jackets is complicated because yes, in terms of franchise history, sure you can make an argument for a guy like Sergei Bobrovsky or maybe even Artemi Panarin, despite only being here for 2 years.
Right.
Rick Nash is the greatest Blue Jacket of all time.
Well, numbers can only say so much.
Yeah, I think total impact and just not just on the team, but on the community.
Yes.
I'd say Rick Nash is the greatest Blue Jacket of all time.
We talk about that with Cam and Nick.
Their impacts were felt too. So you look at Rick Nash and you're like, oh my God, it's the tale of two sides where it's like the Blue Jackets, all they were for 10 years, all they had was Rick Nash.
That's literally all they had. They had Steve Mason for one of those years.
Yeah. And, he's such a great player and you wanted to build around him, but they couldn't do it. So it's that tough distinction, that split legacy of, for a decade, this guy was awesome and we loved him and we embraced him and everything like that. He embraced the city, but we didn't win anything. And the only thing we won with him was when we traded him. Because even though we didn't win the trade with the New York Rangers in terms of total value that they got out of it, it wasn't until we traded Rick Nash and got Brandon Dubinsky and Artem Anisimov. We brought in Jarmo Kekalainen. Todd Richards becomes the interim coach. He gets that removed. He becomes the head coach. Makes some different moves around that too. We get Sergei. It wasn't until after we traded It wasn't until after we traded Rick Nash that we became a legitimate franchise. That's the tough thing with the legacy of it, is we wanted to win with this guy, but we couldn't win until we dealt him.
Well, it's weird because, you started following Blue Jackets hockey around the tail end of the Nash era.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
So I had several years to watch him.
Yeah, and I didn't really jump on the Columbus board. I was a hockey fan. I didn't really become an NHL and Columbus fan until after Nash was gone.
Yeah. And
but I still know just how much of a legacy he left behind.
Yeah. But let me tell you, man, you didn't get to experience it. Watching Rick Nash in person was unbelievable.
I'm sure it was. Even just watching the highlights of what's that, his best goal ever, where he's completely windmilling around people.
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. It's
his best goal ever.
Because I'm pretty sure it was the same year that Alex Ovechkin scored that goals against the Coyotes. So it's not even the greatest goal in that building against the Coyotes. But it was an unbelievable goal. And you just look at it, it's a tie game. It's less than a minute left. He scores that goal. Columbus goes on to win that game. That was him, man. He had to carry that franchise on his back, and they couldn't support him because they did dumb shit after dumb shit. They just couldn't build around him. It was frustrating. It wasn't until we made a change at the top, brought in John Davidson and Jarmo Kekalainen, and it was too late. Rick Nash gets traded, and that's how the Blue Jackets had to rebuild. So you get the Blue Jackets, since the Rick Nash trade, have solidified themselves as a middle of the road team in terms of wins since I want to say 2013, but they finally rebuilt a culture. They built up a good culture that they could be consistent over the years, that they could finally consistently make the playoffs. They won a playoff series, all that stuff. It wasn't until after we traded Rick Nash to do that stuff. And it's not Rick Nash's fault. It's not like,
No.
oh, we can't win with this guy. It just sucks because we didn't win with this guy. And then once we traded him, we started to.
Right. It's just unfortunate timing.
I just don't want people, as a result of that, to forget the impact this dude had on Columbus.
I thought, like, when I first came in as a fan, one of my first experiences with Rick was that game against the Rangers where he shoved
Bobrovsky, yeah.
And that gave me a really bitter taste in my mouth.
It gave a lot of Blue Jackets fans a bitter taste in their mouth. A lot of and it's like I said, man, you think about the history of the Blue Jackets and the sensitivity of this fan base. And it's not to dog the fan base. I get it. It's part of why there was a sour taste in their mouth about Rick Nash for a long while. I think that's a part of it. Rick Nash reasonably, after a decade with the team, because think about it, he was drafted in 2002. He asked for a trade in 2012. He was there for a decade. A fucking decade. They didn't do
9 seasons, a full decade in terms of just being there. Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't do anything to build around him. The one time they tried to do something, they completely blew the trade because they traded Jakub Voracek and the 7th overall pick that became Sean Couturier to get Jeff Carter. And it was a disaster. And then Jeff Carter wanted out. And then you blew that trade to the Kings because you got Jack Johnson out of it. And that's really about it. And now it's like, oh my God, we're starting over again. He didn't want to deal with another rebuild. So I understood that from his perspective. But I also get it from the Blue Jackets perspective, the hurt, because this guy meant everything to the organization. Yes. They were already reeling after the Jeff Carter situation, the Adam Foote situation. Do Stars want to be here? And then this guy asks out. But it's not because he hated the city. He still lives here. He's still part of the organization. He loves
He's
Columbus.
In the front office as player development.
He wanted a chance to fucking win, and that's why he went to the Rangers, and he got to a Stanley Cup final. He didn't win it, but he got to a Stanley Cup final. He got the chance that he always wanted and the chance he deserved. So it's a tough legacy with the Blue Jackets because it's a complicated one.
Do you want to hear the story about his number? I teased off the top.
So
he played, we mentioned he was a London Knight. It was a weird twist of like, just, okay. It's really simple when you boil it down. He wanted either 13 or 16. And he wanted 16 because that's his birthday. There was a second-year veteran on the Knights that was already wearing 16, so he got priority to keep it.
Yeah.
So then Rick
also had 13.
I think somebody else also did have 13.
So he just flipped it.
So the trainer was just like, "Yeah, what do we do? I don't know what we do." And Rick said, "Just give me whatever." And the trainer just decided, we don't know. This trainer passed away in 2017. Unfortunately. Okay. So we can't hear what his reasoning was, but he just decided to flip it. Which kind of worked out for Rick because like his mom was born in 61 and like there's sentimental reasons behind 61 still too for him.
61 fit him well.
61 did fit him very well, obviously, because we didn't know what he was going to be until he became what he did. And oh my God. He put number 61 on the map.
He did.
In terms of hockey numbers. Like there are only like 2-3 others that I can even think of that wear 61 right now, just in the NHL.
I'm struggling to think of players who wear 61, to be honest with you.
Mark Stone's one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yes, George, definitely one of them.
Mark Stone is like one of the bigger ones. But really, there's not a lot of 61s in the NHL right now. And we knew that, nobody was going to wear 61 for Columbus.
Yeah, just
afterwards. It's just now it's going to be cemented.
Yeah. It's going to be hanging in the rafters forever. And I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
He absolutely deserves it. And here's hoping the boys can get the win against former captain.
Yeah. It'll be exciting to have Nick back in the building too. He's going to get an unbelievable standing ovation.
I wonder if they've got a video for him too.
They will. Are you kidding me?
Well, because they're doing gates open at 5. The ceremony for Rick is at 5:30. So then I would think they would still have a video tribute for Nick.
They're still going to have a video tribute. It's going to be, they understand that this night's going to be a very sentimental night. And here's to hoping the Jackets can take advantage and get the win.
I want to see Sean on the score sheet.
That'd be nice. He had 2 assists the other night against the Kings.
He did.
So
getting some points against his former team would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. I loved his game this year. So hopefully he can do that. Nick's been struggling in Boston, but he's still a really good guy.
He can't stay in the lineup,
did a lot
really.
For the organization. He did a lot for the organization. Because here's the thing, Rick Nash and Nick Foligno never played together.
Oh, no, they didn't.
And it was kind of like a little bit of a passing of the torch from 61 to 71, because even though Nick Foligno never had the skill of Rick Nash, he was such a good captain for the team.
But he's also, we talk about the kind of captain that this team admires. You mentioned Rick was a power forward. Nick was a power forward. Boone is a power forward.
Yeah, there's a certain kind of game that these guys like, not just in terms of like the leadership, but just the actual play. They like guys who don't mind getting in the dirty areas, who have some skill to them, who can drive offense. Nick in his prime could do that. Rick in his prime could do it better than anybody.
Yeah.
And right now, I think Boone's been underrated for the last couple of years of doing it. He's showing in first line minutes. He's really good at doing it.
He's so good at doing it. But we know tonight is about 61. He's, he is Mr. Blue Jacket.
He is.
And just Rick Nash being the first number retired by this franchise is honestly the most fitting thing.
It is. And it fits back into this, because how many times have we had the number 1 pick? I think that's the only time we ever had the number 1 pick.
Number 1, yeah.
And it wasn't even our pick. And it just goes into the idea that, so we've only had the number 1 pick one time. We picked this guy, Rick Nash, and he's the first guy to get his number officially retired by the team for the rest of eternity.
It's also very fitting that he's still with us, like in the organization, that he's, he's a Blue Jacket for life. And just putting the number up there is just another building block in Rick Nash's Blue Jackets legacy.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's huge. Here's hoping for a win over the Beasts tonight, get us one step closer into this wild card race. And we've got some plans that we're working on for Tuesday. If those fall through, I'm sure we'll still have like a normal show, but we've got some surprises that we're trying to cook up.
Alrighty.
And we'll see you Tuesday, everybody.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.